Yeah, today we'll discuss about how to create an web APIs in Dynamics. Let's see what's the agenda. So in this agenda, we will see about how to retrieve multiple records and how to retrieve a particular record in Dynamics, and how to create a record using a web API, and how to update a record in web API, and how to delete a record in web API, and we can eliminate this so it's not useful for us. And we can see a basic create query, and we see a create related entity record in one operation, and associate entity records on create. So, and we will see about the check for duplicate records, and we'll see how to create a new entity from other entity, and we'll see how to how to return a data when created. And next we will see about the basic query example, and we'll see how to limit the number of records in when returning the values, and we'll see how to use a top query, and we'll see how to specify the number of entities to return in a page, and we'll see how to apply system query options, and we'll see how to use a filter results, and we'll see how to standard query functions, and we'll see how to use the common data service web API query functions, and we'll see how to use the lambda operators. In lambda operators we can use any operator and all operator, and we can use a filtering parent records based on the child records, and we'll see about the order results, how to use an order in web API, and we'll see how to aggregate and group results, and we'll see how to use an alias parameter with the system queries, and we'll see how to use a retrieving a count of entities, and we'll see how to include the format values when using the option sets, and we'll see how to retrieve the related entities with query, and we'll see how to retrieve the changes for an entity using a web API, and we can check about retrieving the count of the changes made in entities using web API, and we need to use the retrieve changes. We will discuss about the retrieve changes for an entity using an organization service. We will see about the column comparison using the web API, and we will use and we will see about the how to execute console application using a web API, and we will see about we will see the queries which we need to use in Postman also. Let's yeah, let's go for a basic query. So when we are using Postman, so we can use this sample query and sample JSON to create a record. You can change the values, but it's one of the it's a it's an example. So in Postman, we need to declare like we need to give the organization URL, and we need to give the API, and we need to give the data /v/9.0/accounts, and we need to include these headers, and we need to include in body we need to declare this JSON data to create a record. So after creating a record, so you will get with response with this GUID, and next we need to go for so we will see how to create a related entity records in one operation. What is the related entity? It's a second table which we use for a specific entity. Like suppose I have account and contact. So contact is the related entity, account is a parent record. So in this we will use three tables. One is primary is the account, and secondary is the contact, opportunity, task. So we have three child records, and one is parent. So here we need to go like we need to give the account, we need to give this URL, and you need to include these headers, and in here we need to give the parent account name, and we need to give the child record. We can create a child record using this JSON data, and we are creating another child account with this record. In this we are giving the name for opportunity. In this we are, in opportunity we have child record. In that case we need to write like this. So it will create a child record for an opportunity also. And after creating you will get a response with this GUID. And we'll see about associated entity records on create. Like we will see how to map the, suppose I have account and contact, so I want to map the contact lookup in account. In that case we will see. So here we can see that we are mapping, and here we are taking example for account and contacts, and we need to include this address, and we need to give the account name, and we are mapping contact child record in an account. So we need to give like this. We need to give the field name at OData.bind, and we need to give the logical name for an entity which we are using as a secondary, and we need to give the GUID. Next we need to see, like after creating a record, after associating a record and creating a record, so you will get a response with this specific GUID. And we can check for duplicates also. Sometimes if we are creating a record, if the CRM has a duplicate detection rule, so it will say like there are duplicate records. To disable that records, or to enable the records, so we use the MS dot suppression duplication detection is equal to false. We need to use this in an header, in a JSON header. So with this post records we can enable the duplicate detection also. By default if you declare, if you keep a false statement, so it will enable the duplicate detection. If you want to check more about that, so you can check from this link, and you can check from this link also. And we'll see how to create a new record from another entity. We have an initialization form function which is used to create a record from the existing record, where the mapping exists between the entities to which records belongs to. For example, we are creating an account record with an attribute of existing record of an entity record with an account ID. We already have the record. We already have one record, so we are just giving the GID. So let's see how to create this. In this, we need to give the URL, and we are writing initialization form. And here we need to give entity moniker, and we need to give the parameter. And we are giving the target entity name. We need to give a second parameter, and we need to use a target field type with a field name with a parameter. So these three parameters. So we are setting these values here. So t1 is equal to, we need to declare like this. In first parameter we are giving this value, and in second parameter we are giving this with an account. In third parameter we are giving like Microsoft.Dynamics or CRM.target field type is equal to valid for create, and these parameters we need to include in header. So after requesting this record in a get parameter, so you will get with the response with these details. So let's yeah. So if you want to return the value from the if you want to return the GID from the when creating a record, so in that case we need to write like in request parameter we need to return like this. So, and we need to give the select query, and here we need to give the names which fields you needed, and then to include these headers. In this you can see this return is equal to representation. So if you add this header, so you will, when after creating a record, so you will return the values with the following response with the values also. So we see here with a basic example how to retrieve the records using a select parameter. So in SQL we use a select query, right? So similar like that, here also we use a select. First we need to give the organization URL, and we need to give a select query, and we need to give the which fields you needed. And I am using the top parameter to get the top 3 records, top 10 records. In that case, if you want to limit the records and if you want to get some specific number of records, so you can use a top 3. And so you will get a response with following details. So the sample following details. So you can limit the records also. In this, we have some limitations in returning. So maximum we can get of 5,000 entities per request per return. So in that case, if there are more entity that match the criteria, means if you have more query filter criteria, and we have a parameter called data dot next link property. So it will return the values using the value of next link. Next link is like a suppose if we have more than 5,000 records, so it will indicate that we have more than 5,000 records with the next link. So we can use a top to get the top 3 records or top 4 records using this top parameter. Suppose we want to specify a page name. Suppose in first page we have 5,000 records and second page we have 5,000 records. In that case, we can limit the maximum page size also. Like I want to get 15,000 records in 3 pages. So in that case, we need to declare like this, and we need to give the header with prefer is equal to OData dot maximum page size is equal to 3. And we can after declaring you will get the results with the following data. And we can use this query to get the some of system queries, like suppose I want to write some conditions, like I'm declaring the name revenue, and we are so I want to get a top 3 and I want to write some conditions, like in SQL we use a where condition, right? So it's similar like that. Here also we can use a filter query. In this I am getting like GT revenue greater than is equal to 1000. GT is called the greater than. So using filter query, we can use a some criteria to like we can write some conditions in web APIs. So here you can define, here we are defining GT, right? So in that case we can use it different types of comparisons also. We can use EQ, we can use NE, we can use G10. The full abbreviation is with the following description, and we can see these examples also. We need to use this operator in filter query. So you can check this table, so you can know how to use this queries. And here we use a common data services also, like suppose we have some special function that accepts parameters to return the values. So that is called functions. So we have so many functions, so you can check out from this link. And one of the function we are using, like to retrieve the records based on some property values. Suppose I want to get the name, number of employees, and we need to use the, so I'm writing a condition with a between parameter. So I need to get number of employees between 5 to 2000 records. So in that case we will write this API. So we can use a lambda operators also here. So for lambda operators we use like we have any operator and all operator. So any operator is like when we use an any operator, so it will return true if the Boolean expression applied is true, or for any member of the collection, means like in when you are requesting some data, so you will get data from any number of collection. We don't have specific number. We will get we won't get any specific number of the collection. So we will get a complete number of collections. If it's not true, so it will return the false. So using we can use a filter you can use any parameter with this example. Suppose I am writing account, so I am getting the name, and I want to get the I want to filtering the I'm filtering account underscore email, which is the uh, which is which we are binding with account, and we are binding with emails, and we are writing some condition any which contains the subject with some email, and we need to write the status to work with any. So this is the code for and we will get a response with this, and for all parameters. So if you are using all parameters, so it will if you have data, so it will return to true for all the members of collection. Means we will get some we'll get all the data from all the member of the collection. So in this case, we need to write like API slash data slash v9.1 slash accounts, and we need to give the filter, and I'm assigning the account and account entity and task entity. I'm giving the all parameter, and I am using a status code condition which is equal to 1. I need to include the status also. And if I want to filter parent records based on the child records, so in this suppose I'm having a linked opportunity record, budget greater than or equal to 300 with the account. The opportunity records has no description, or the opportunity records description contains the terms file. So we are using these three conditions in these parameters. Here we are writing select query with a name, and we are using filter with the opportunity customer accounts which is not equal to, and not equal to, and we are giving a description is equal to null, and budget amount is less than or equal to 300, and it should contain the bad parameter. So this is the parameters. This is the field logical name. So you need to declare. I'm declaring the field logical names. And next we need to declare like suppose an opportunity customer account slash any and ends with name. So you need to define based on your condition. So you can use this code, or you can change the code. Suppose I want to use an order result. Suppose I want to get some records based on some revenue fields. So in account you will have the revenue field. So in that case I'm writing a select query, and I am ordering the query using the revenue ascending and name descending. If you want to use an ascending with a field, you can use like this using an order by parameter, and we can use a descending and ascending using specific with help of this ascending and descending, and we can use a filters also. And you can use this and you can check these scenarios. We have some list of scenarios, so you can look, and you can know how to create a records using this aggregated and group results. Sometimes we want to use I want to get some of count of some records, or I want to get the unique records. In that case, we need to use an aggregated and group results in WebAPI. So when using the this is if you want to use a parameters with the system queries, you can define with this like suppose I want to in order by I'm using a parameter, and I want to apply that parameter in the means I want to set that parameter at the bottom of the or at the last of the query. So we can write like these conditions like I'm writing order by, and I'm giving a parameter with an ascending and p2 as descending, and I'm writing some filters, and 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 I'm writing and I'm giving these values here. Means I'm setting that values at p1 is equal to revenue. This revenue will set on p1. In p2 I'm giving name. This p2 name will set on p2. Same like which we use as store process, right? So similar like that. So next we will see how to retrieve the specific count. Suppose I want to retrieve some count with a value of 5,000, or if I want to get some count of means I want to get how many records we have with with sample name parameter. Here we are declaring like select name, and we are given the parameter filter with contents of name is equal to sample. So I'm retrieving the records which is having the sample, and we need to include the count is equal to true. So it will give a count which is having the sample using this count true. So following is the output for previous slide. So you will get a count of 10, and it will retrieve the results. And here it will see like, see, you can see a next link, right? So if you have next link, so it says that we have more records from we have more than 3 records, or we have more than 4 records. So in that case, it's giving a URL also to use that for a pagination. So why we use formatted values means this is the other slide which we can use a formatted values when we are using an option set. In option set, you will have the option set text, and you will have the option set label. Suppose I want to get the option set label or option set text. So in that case, you need to include the parameter header with a OData dot community dot display dot v dot formatted value. So it will return the formatted values also. So you can see this data, and you can see that you are getting the do not post mail with a formatted value. And we'll see how to include the lookup. Suppose I want to get the lookup values dynamics from dynamics. So we use a query called so here I'm getting the request, like I'm writing this request. I'm getting the records with an existing record. Instant is a one of the entity which we use in dynamics, and we need to give it a GUID. And I'm writing the select is equal to title, and this is called the lookup value. So when you're suppose I want to call the lookup value, so you need to define like underscore, and we need to give the field name of the lookup, and we need to give the underscore value. So this is the field name. So we need to give the field name with the, now I'm using the account parent customer ID. So in an account we have one field called customer ID. So I'm using that field. So you can give your field name which based on your requirements. And I'm writing the expand parameter with the customer ID underscore contacts. Like suppose I want to get a suppose I'm declaring here customer ID. So for customer ID we have a contact relation also. In that case, I need to retrieve the child records. Suppose I want to retrieve the contact records, but I'm calling the instance, but I want to retrieve the child records also. In that case, we need to write like customer ID underscore contact, and then we need to give the select query, and we need to give the field names. So this field names is the child records which we are calling in this query. In parent, you will get title customer value. In child records, you will get the full name. So you will get response with this example. So you are getting context, and you are getting the this e tag value, and you are getting the customer ID value, and you are getting the uh, and you are getting some customer ID value, and you are getting uh, in contact you are getting the this specific values also, like in customer ID you will have the formatted values. So you are getting yeah, you're getting the full name also. So you're getting customer ID value, and you're getting instant ID, and you're getting child record values also. In child record child in nested JSON. in we see now we are seeing like we have other slide called retrieve changes in entities using WebAPI. In some cases, we are writing some we are calling some code from WebAPIs. So we have two developers. One developer is writing some code, and another developer is writing some code, or we are calling some APIs. So we don't know which APIs they are calling from Dynamics. So we can track the changes in with one web API. So it will retrieve the means which APIs the developer is calling. So we can track using this using web API. So here suppose I'm retrieving the account, and I want to get with these fields which developers are using these fields in web API. So you need to include this header prefer is equal to OData track of changes. So it will give the results with following slide. In response, we will get like we will get delta link. In this you will get uh, some developer is using this APIs is using the they call this APIs from Postman. So we can track uh, this which APIs they are retrieving from Dynamics. In this you will get the delta link. So in delta link you will get some ID. So it's like a unique ID which stores with tracking. So when using a tracking API, so some some operators will not work like filter or order by a top. This parameters will not work in when using a track. So I'm using this code for a reference. So I done some customizations on that code, and I write some code. Let's see how this code look like. So I'm right. So I have some library which I'm using. So let's see how I'm writing like this code. So we have service exception, and we have service config, and we have program.cs, and we are using out message handler extension, and we are using CDS web service uh, classes. So let's go for a readme file. So why we are using CDS web service class means it's a class library which we have the this is a dotted framework class library that creates a assembly to define a service. Suppose I want to connect to Dynamics using a web API, so I use this class to connect to Dynamics, and these are the methods I'm using. Code. And we have OAuth message handler. So this file, why it is used like to initialize the HTTP client. So if I want to establish a connection with the HTTP client, so I'm calling this OData handler in for a CDS web service client as a constructor. So this service config file we use for uh, to get the to get a connection string via service config file. Suppose I am writing a connection string with app config. In app config, I will write this connection string. So I want to get this connection string. Using this service config, we are getting the values. And we have other file called service exception. This service exception we use for to extend additional properties. Like suppose I have some errors, or suppose I got some error in when calling the web API. So this file will throw an exception using this five parameters: name, message, error code, status code, reason phase. And we have other file called extension.cs. This file, why it is used, like suppose sometimes our web API will won't work. So in that case, what we will do? So we will try, or we will retry this postman. Means we will retry by calling this method, by calling the web API. So instead of that, we are using a clone method, which it automatically retries the web API. Suppose I'm getting a timeout issue. So later, so it will retry it after 3 seconds. It will retry using this clone method, and we'll go for a, and we are using reference files following code. You can check this code, so you can get which CLS we are using. And I am using this project. It's a console application for now, so you can use these methods in a WCF code also. So I'm using a target framework of 4.6.1. So we need to have a framework of .NET 4.6.1. And let's go for a main program. Here we will see how to create. So here I'm declaring a connection string to establish a dynamics connection, and I'm giving this connection string in service config. So it will establish a connection with it will give a connection with the dynamics. So let's and here if you go for an app config, you can find the connection string which I'm giving. This is to use we use this URL. It's a dynamics CRM URL which we can get from dynamics. So if you ask some if you are you need to ask the dynamics developer, so they will provide this dynamics URL. So next we need to use, like we have other parameter also. Let's see. And we need to define the some some parameters also, like uh, yeah, you need to give the principal name, password, authority. Let's yeah, in app config we need to give with the following parameters. So in this, first I'm giving the CRM URL, service URL, and next we need to give the client ID which is used from Azure. We need to get this client ID, and we need to give the redirect URL which is there in when we are creating a app registration in Dynamics in Azure. So we need to specify that redirect URL which we are giving for a client ID, and we need to give the CRM username and password which we are using for an API. And we can define the version also. Suppose I am using 9.1, or suppose I am using 9.2, or I am using 8.2. So I can use that version number also. It's a dynamics version number, and we can write a maximum retries also. Suppose in first attempt I'm not able to connect the API, so maximum retries we can do for a 3, or we can try for more than three also. Okay, so we are calling the connection string from this program.cs file. So this method is used for creating a record in using a web API. I'm declaring a JSON using a post create, which is there in CDS web service line. So I'm sending the entity name, and I'm passing this JSON to create a record. After creating a record, so it will retrieve the URL. Like it will retrieve the URL with HTTP. Co- it, uh, it will retrieve like ashish.crm.dynamics.com slash API slash data slash version 9.0 slash. It will give the result entity name with some parameter, means some GUID, like so you will get the uh, contact URL similar like this. So this is the GUID we need to. So this is used for to retrieve the records, or to use for other operations, like to update a record also we use this URL. Sorry. So this method is used to update a method, like suppose I want to update a record. So in that case you need to specify the URL. Means you need to pass some specific this URL, so it will update with the help of this URL. So this is the GID, which is uh, which this URL we are using here. Suppose I want to retrieve I want to update a record with some specific account ID. So that account ID we need to specify here, and we need to give the uh, table name in this our entity name. Using this here, we can give the entity name here, and in update method, so I'm passing the contact URL, and I'm writing these parameters which values we need to update, and I'm using a svc.patch. Patch is used to update the record, so we use a patch. So when we are giving the contact URL, and we are passing this JSON response. So in update, you and after updating, so you will get a result with some you can get a URL also same like this. In return you will get this response. So if you want to retrieve a records in Dynamics using a web API, so in that case you need to use a svc.get. So using a svc.get, you can get the specific values from Dynamics. So this select query, and I explain in slide, right? So same we can specify here also, but using an svc.get, you, in a code level you can get this use you can as a code level you can get this code, can get this can get the data from Dynamics using a svc.get. And we need to specify the fields which I explained in slide. So suppose uh, I want to get only one record from Dynamics. So in that case, I will write like svc.get, and I will use a URL. This contact URL is similar, like I'm passing this contact URL, and and contact URL, I'm specifying some fields. So using this code, so I'm able to get only one record. Suppose I want to retrieve a records by only one field. So in that case, I will use a svc.get and contact URL, and I'm specifying the field name. So we can retrieve only one field name using this WebAPI. Suppose I want to create a record with related entities, or we have two tables, so I want to create a record with the second entity also. So in that case means I want to map the with associated record. Suppose I'm using an account now, so in that I'm using a name and I'm using a telephone, and I want to map the lookup value for a contact. So in that case we will write like primary contact ID is a field name at OData.bind, which is used for when we use a lookup. So we need to use this one, and we need to give the contact URL. Next we are creating a record with using a post create, and we are checking and we are retrieving the data if it's working or not, means if that record is created or not. And next we are creating a related entities also, like for an account there is a relation with the task entity. So I'm creating the task entity, and, and we have uh, so I'm creating a related entity which is task entry, which is linked with an account. So we can create a related entities using this code also. I'm writing task and contact, which is I have two tables, contact and task. So I'm creating this contact and task to an account. So account is a primary and contact is the related entity, and task also related entity. So I'm creating an account with a child records using this code. So after creating a records, I'm retrieving a records also. So suppose I want to associate, and other method is called the associate and deassociate. This associate and deassociate is like suppose I want to remove the link from suppose I have account record, in that I have the contact lookup. So I want to deassociate that contact link from further specific records. In that case we use the first we are creating a end-to-end relation table, means end-to-end relation uh, field. So after creating the end-to-end relation field, we are getting that end-to-end relation data field data, and next we are using a this URL, and we are giving this next nav URL, which is there in a means I am getting that field relation field name, and I'm deleting the and I'm using spc.delete parameter for using the delete parameter, which is used to delete the uh, that lookup value, which is that lookup values, which is using the this one URL, means so I'm defining this URL and contact URL, So it will create a link, and we can remove that. We can deassociate that link from contact. We can deassociate contact link from the account using this parameter. And we have end-to-end relation tables also. In that case, we use these parameters. First, we are creating end-to-end relation data, and we are so after creating, so I'm getting that URL. And I'm defining that URL here using the JObject, and I'm using and I'm creating a new field also with an opportunity competitor. As we have opportunity competitor. Opportunity is one record, one entity, and competitor is another entity. So in that case, we use this fields, means these relations. So after creating that record, so I'm using this get parameter to check that result that record is created or not. So after creating that record, so you will get it. You will get a record with some specific URL. Means we need to suppose I want to remove the link between two tables with some two tables which is a end-to-end relation. So in that case, you will write the URL, and this is the primary account, and this is the secondary entity which we need to remove. So this is the when you are creating an end-to-end relation, you will create it will create one other table which is mapped with opportunity and customer. So we will when we are using end-to-end relation, so you will have the tables with three tables. Suppose I have account and contact. So in that case, if you are creating an end-to-end relation field, so it will create a other entity with account and contacts. So using this URL, I'm deleting this record. I'm deleting the end-to-end relation record. So and suppose I want to delete a record from Dynamics. So using a contact URL and using svc.delete, we can delete a record. And we can use a basic operations also. It means suppose I want to create I want to retrieve the records from Dynamics. So which I explained in slide. It's also so it's similar to that, but we need to use the svc.get to retrieve the records. And we need to use the if I want to get the option set values, option set text. So we use in a retrieve record. So we need to specify this header to retrieve the option set headers. Option set text. If you want to do the option set text, we have in option sets we will have the text and values. In that case, we will we can if you want to get the text, you can use this header and you can get this value using this code. So if you want to use some conditions in when treating the formatted values, so in that case you can use the conditions and you can specify the header, and you can write the conditions like which I explain in slides. So you can specify these queries. So here why this right contact result table is like we used to get the so I'm showing the data using the in a table format in console application. So you can check this method, and this complete method which I'm using in I'm getting from I took it this code from which I shared a reference link in slide, so that you can check that reference link. So why we are using the contact results table. So and next we are using the uh, get parameter. it's used to get some results like I explained before in slide, right? So if you want to get some results using these conditions, you can write these conditions. Means if you want to filter it based on some conditions, and if you want to use an order and alias from code level, so you can use this code which I explained in the slide. Same, similar like which I explained in slide. It's also same, but we are using a svc.get in code level. If and we can use a parameter alias also. And if I want to limit the records, you can use this query. Suppose I want to limit the records with top file, which I explained in slide. So it's also same, but we will use svc.get as a to get the results, and we to get the top 3 or top 5, or if you want to limit some records, you can use a top is equal to 5, or if you want to limit 6 records, you can write a 6. And if I want to get the aggregated results from a web API, so you can use this code using an apply equal to aggregated, and you need to give the field name with following parameters. Suppose I want to get an average of annual income, so you need to declare like annual income with average, or if you want to declare with annual income with sum, so we can declare like annual income with sum. So you can use this code based on your needs. And if I want to retrieve the records based on the fetch XML in a web API, so you can define some queries. I mean, we can define some fetch XML, and you can retrieve that code using a fetch XML also. Using a in get parameter, you can write like fetch XML equal to, we need to encode this URL, and you can pass this URL to retrieve the records. And next, we suppose I want to retrieve the records using a say defined queries, predefined queries. What is predefined queries? Like when we are using a dynamics, you can see the views. You can you can hear about views, system views or save views. So we have two types of views. One is system views and save views. Uh, suppose I'm taking an account entity. So when you are opening a list, you will see a list, right? When you are opening CRM. So in that you will find a drop down with an active accounts or inactive accounts. So in that case, if you want to use a predefined system views, which is called the saved queries. Suppose I want to use my own views. So in that case, we use a user queries. When we are using system saved queries is a system views. We need to give the field names, and we need to give the filter is equal to name equal to, we need to give the view name, you can give the view name, so it will retrieve the results based on the views. So if you want to declare your own view, so you can use this query, and we can create your own view, and you can get that results based on your own views also. This user query id is used to get the which we are using, which we are creating here, right? Which is a custom view. So using this user query id, it will get the custom views.